All right, so yeah, it's time to welcome our special guest who is waiting backstage right now. Just to give a little bit of an introduction. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about this much on air, but it was something that I was paying attention to. Obviously, I grew up in Kansas, and one group that has emerged recently in Kansas as a pretty interesting new activist front is the Satanic Grotto. I've obviously, followed Satanism and always thought it was pretty cool, pretty interesting. I remember that documentary Hail Satan came out back in like 2016, kind of at the beginning of the Trump administration, and we actually interviewed the gentleman who was prominently featured in that film, Lucian Greaves. Lucian Greaves, yeah. Shout out to Lucian
Julian
Greaves.
Reeves.
He was he was really making the rounds at that point. But either way, I've always with Satanism. I love the kind of mix of activism and performance art. They're not afraid to get a little bit crazy, a little bit edgy. And this recently happened, Zach, at the Kansas Statehouse. Satanic Grotto leader arrested after confrontation at the Satanic Statehouse. Let's see if we can play this.
Yes, my best. Santa Maria the baby.
What was the? If you could explain to me, I saw that it gets violent when that guy throws up.
Yep. So this guy's standing here.
Yes, my best.
He's trying to do this black mass. This guy comes up to him, tries to grab his shit out of his hands. He responds by standing his ground with some good old fashioned self-defense and punches him the fuck out.
I was wondering what happens because clearly that guy approaches him and there's an incident and this guy's not fucking around.
Yes, my best.
And then, by the way, as you can see here in the background, this individual with the mohawk is my cousin Jay, who's about to join us. They were there, at the scene of this black mass, and are potentially dealing with some legal issues of their own after the leader of the Satanic Grotto himself was arrested. So I'm definitely interested to hear about the status of the leader, the gentleman here who you see throw the punch, in addition to Jay's legal situation and just all the fallout that they've experienced in the aftermath of this incident, which definitely made news here in Kansas. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it, but pretty crazy stuff. Again, we're about to introduce Jay, who again is my cousin. Super proud to welcome you to the Vanguard. Jay, how's it going?
Hello, doing good. Just got off the phone with that lawyer, so that was interesting. For sure.
Yeah, so before you talk about your legal situation, I'm going to turn up your microphone just a little bit here so everyone can hear you nice and crisp.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Satanic Grotto. I was mentioning the Satanic Temple earlier, Lucian Greaves. Do you guys have any connection to other, nationwide satanic groups, activists, collectives, whatever? Is it completely independent? What's your guys' deal?
We're independent, yeah. We do our own thing. But I would say like our philosophy though is kind of in between like what TST does and what COS believes. We have similar area in there, like because I don't know, like I like TST and some of what they do and all, but there are some things that I'm not particular on that I don't connect with as much, and same thing with COS. So this group
What's
is
COS
kind of
again for people that aren't aware?
Oh, I'm sorry. Church of Satan. They follow more like the Satanic Bible to the letter, it feels like, which is excessive to me. But anyway, yeah. So like I'd say this group is more like we have this mutual agreement on like activism is important, but also like human nature is really important as well. Which I feel like is what the Anton LaVey side is more like, human nature.
Yeah, I feel like definitely with the re-election of Donald Trump, there's been a renewed effort to kind of reassert the United States as like a Christian nation, as an effort to kind of, I don't know, reestablish. We were never technically a Christian nation, but there's been constant efforts throughout our history to, kind of give us that credential. And now, just as recently as today, Marco Rubio's State Department tells employees of the government to report one another for anti-Christian bias. So I wanted to get your perspective on that as somebody who is an individual that's not just of a religion that might be vilified or potentially outlawed by the state, but also as somebody who engages in public actions on behalf of that effort.
Right, yeah. It definitely makes me even more nervous. Like I feel like we're even taking even bigger risks now because of that. And yeah, like we're literally taking bigger risks as well, like going to the Capitol and whatnot. But yeah, just I don't know. I guess there's more. I guess I worry that there's more people against what we do. You know.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? I guess that's a good, question. Like for anyone that might be not familiar with the tenets of the Satanic Grotto or what you guys stand for, like, I mean, what is your deal? Are you just out there worshiping Satan, or is this
Oh no.
like, a serious political movement? I know that obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Right.
saying,
Yeah.
like,
Oh
give an
yeah.
introduction to people that might be a little bit confused or
Right.
even off put by the notion of what you guys are up to. Like,
Mhm.
what is the value in this? What are you guys actually, bringing to the table in an activist sense?
Yeah, we're more atheistic for sure. So yeah, we definitely don't do the devil worship. So it's more like Satan is our own power. We see ourselves as powerful, and I guess in a way our own gods, quote unquote. We rule our lives and do what whatever our choices are is what our consequences are, you can say. There's no like God or universe that's controlling all this. It's all our own responsibility. And so yeah, we do like a variety of stuff like poetry night, or we'll do like educational classes or like craft get-togethers, all like community like services essentially. And we'll do like food drives and clothing drives and whatnot too. Um,
That sounds scary.
but yeah. Oh, scary. It was kind of amusing actually when we went to harvesters to help, like, kind of sort some of their food and whatnot. They actually had us sort apples. We were like, was this on purpose? Like,
Well, what about the black mass at the or the Kansas
yeah.
State House? Was that something that you were involved in planning, Jay, or was that something you just kind of showed up to? I actually have a badass photo of you, real quick, that I wanted to throw up
Oh,
on
yeah.
screen from this demonstration. As you guys can see, here's Jay
Yeah,
in
I love that
full
one.
gear, absolutely badass, like I said.
Thank you.
But yeah, let us know about how this went down. What the planning looked like, what the point of this demonstration was, and then ultimately,
Yeah.
how it ended up in the way that it ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was more like someone that they had brought it, like, well, at least more specifically Maynard, which is the wife of Michael, of the leader of the grotto. Her and Michael had went up to the Capitol, and they go up to counter protest a lot up there because, like, it's usually during a freaking weekday, so I can't go because I'm at work. So they get
Mm.
to go anyway. So they usually go up there to like counter protest AIM, abortion as murder,
Mm.
and they were just like, it'd be really cool if like we could switch sides, like where we're on the inside and they have to like protest us, where they want to protest what we're doing, which they did obviously. But anyway, so we wanted to be there in the rotunda and be able to see if like we can experience our mass, our black mass there. And I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I'm very down for all of this. Like, this sounds great. Sounds epic. And, like, there's great echo in the rotunda. Like, it was going to be a very cool, like, spiritual experience. But, and then people weren't happy about it. Catholics specifically, and we had a permit and everything to be in there. And then
Oh,
because of all
seriously?
that, yeah, we did. We had a permit from representative. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I
Wait, so
can't
then
remember.
what's the charge with the excuse me then, because
Hmm.
that makes sense to me then. So you've checked all the boxes,
Yeah.
you've done all of your bureaucratic duty.
We
You
even got a
are
hold of the police department and was like, "Hey, we want to make sure we're doing this right, and we're definitely not causing trouble. We want to make sure everyone's safe."
Yeah.
And yeah,
And you would never imagine this kind of response coming from like a
no,
prayer circle happening at the Capitol.
no,
Gavin and I, we both grew up in Kansas. We both had to
right,
do the third grade tour of the Capitol. You walk up the steep steps to the top. I was a page when I was in sixth grade. I remember me and my
yeah,
friend Mariah Weber. We went and were like little aides for the people at the Topeka Capitol. I'm very familiar with that joint. There is religious
yeah,
iconography, and it would not be out of place for you to see just like a group of individuals. Like
yeah.
I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
even bat an eye if I just saw like a dude in like some Catholic robes, like just
Hmm.
like doing a little prayer with like a stand of people. Not what I wouldn't
Yeah.
give a single fuck. I imagine you wouldn't give a single fuck. But what's
No.
crazy is that when the tables are turned and you're there
Hmm.
exercising your freedom of religion, your right to organize, your freedom of assembly, you've
Yeah.
got the permit, you contacted the law enforcement, you've jumped through a lot of hurdles. Dare I
Yeah.
say, you shouldn't be required to jump
No.
through, and you
Yeah.
go out
Right.
there and demonstrate, in a way that
Mhm.
fucking anti-choice protesters do constantly. I mean, that is
Right.
absolute discrimination.
It was.
And
Yeah.
so I'm just wondering if you could then talk about how it got, where did it all go wrong? Because clearly we see that
Yeah.
guy, he walks
Mhm.
up, your vision's kind of blurred from where we're watching from the POV. You
Yeah.
can kind of see him make an exchange with the gentleman with no hair. And
Mhm.
after that, he's like, fuck you, I'm cracking you one. Get your fucking
Yeah.
hands off me.
Right, yeah, because he was like aggressively trying to pull that from him, and there was no cops doing anything. They were just standing there, so just
As
watching.
cops do. Fucking
Yeah,
useless.
and Michael even goes over and looks at him like, "Are you gonna do something?" And they still don't. And he's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna fucking do it for you then." Oh, sorry if I'm not supposed to say bad
Oh,
words,
you're
but
totally fine.
Oh, say whatever you want. Yeah, it's a free
okay, good,
podcast.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, and so he punched him. And I don't know. Michael just doesn't. He doesn't play. Like he even said he's like, I gave him one shot. I let him tear it once. Then the second time, he's like,
And look at how
too
they
late.
respond differently to this guy,
Yeah,
even though he's just defending himself. And I imagine now
yeah.
he's facing legal consequences from that. He's going to have to
Hmm.
get a lawyer, defend himself, even if they drop the charges because it's proven that it's self-defense. It's still going to cost him time, money, energy.
Yeah.
And can I ask, is there any consequences for the fucker that was trying to disrupt your practice?
Yes, okay, so at first they weren't. At first they took forever to arrest him. Like they arrested us quickly. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
yep,
You got
arrest
arrested as
done.
well, right?
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, which isn't on camera. Well, I have video of it because my partner Nate was there and he videoed us, myself, and my friend Sean getting arrested. But like all the news crew they thought they had their story, so they were done and left.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I have that. But anyway, what was I? Oh shoot, what was I talking about? Where was I
Oh,
going with that?
just where did it? Were there consequences for the other
Oh,
gentleman that kind of instigated?
yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So at first they didn't charge him, and they took forever, and then they would just let him go with a warning. And like I had to sit a night in jail because they couldn't find my identification, even though I gave them my social security number, gave them my address. I didn't give my driver's license number, my driver's license. 'Cause I didn't have it on me. I don't have that
Wait, you had to spend a
memorized.
night in jail even though you didn't throw any punch?
No, yeah, I didn't. They just didn't
For
have
what?
ID for me, so they
What?
left me there. Yeah.
What
Even
was
though
the
you've been
charge?
a Kansas resident your entire life, essentially, right?
Well, no, I live in Missouri, but I was
Oh, okay,
born in
gotcha.
Kansas. But
Yeah.
like they didn't have any record on me because I've never gotten in trouble. Literally, I never even had a ticket in my life. So that was
Wow.
interesting, spending a night in jail for the first time.
Yeah.
um,
That's insane. I honestly didn't
but
even
yeah,
realize that you had spent a night in jail,
yeah,
Jay.
I
That's
did.
crazy.
Yeah, it was different. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad. Like everyone was pretty nice to me. But the food was awful. It was literally awful. Like I thought they were joking, or not like joking. Like I may be over exaggerating, but no, it's not edible. But anyway,
Um,
so that dude got off with a warning at first, and then they rearrested him later, and then they charged him, and now they're forcing him to go back to whatever state he was from. I guess I don't know, somewhere, and I think he might be getting like time or something. I'm not 100% on it all, but now they're actually
Interesting.
like cracking down on it, thankfully. But at first they didn't. They waited.
And did the charges against you stick? Is that something that you're gonna have to battle? What the fuck did they charge you with? Like being a person in a Capitol building that had a permit?
They tried to charge me with unlawful assembly.
Oh, what the fuck? You had a permit.
Yeah, well, we did, but then once Governor Kelly came out and she, with a bunch of Catholics signed a petition against us, and then she felt pressured by them, so then she made it to where we were supposed to be outside, and that's when it became illegal for us to be in there to practice that. We were allowed to be in the building, but we could not do a black mass in the building.
Even though they'd
So
already said you were allowed to, but then the
yeah,
Catholics bitched and moaned, and then
yeah.
they got their way.
And then like representatives voted on it, which they also had mostly Catholic representatives in there to vote. So they voted it made a law essentially for that day for us to not do it. And
That's so insane.
there
To
were
prevent
Christians.
something that wouldn't even have made the news if it had just happened
Yeah,
without incident. Like,
right.
honestly, no one, I mean, I would have thought it was badass, but like, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have made national news if you had just done the Black Mass and peacefully left. The only
Yeah.
reason why anyone knows about this is because of all this commotion, because of and
Mhm.
it's always the way it is with these stupid Catholic protests. Like, Zach and I forget what the movie was, but we went to see a movie.
Oh,
Like,
it's the Paul Verhoeven movie.
yeah, Benedetta, this
Yeah.
weird nun sex lesbian movie about Catholic nuns. It
Pretty
was a
good.
great film.
Okay.
No one knew about it. This was a movie that no one would have seen. But there
Yeah.
were all these Catholics out front of the theater protesting, saying this movie is a portal to hell. This movie is sin. This movie is Satan. And it's like, bro, you're advertising this movie right now. Like, your only reason people are going to go see this movie now is because of this insane, protest you're putting up against it, a movie that no one even knows exists. The same way, it's the Streisand effect. So I guess in an activist sense, it kind of helps your cause and the cause of the Satanic Grotto to do this. Although I imagine the legal nightmare, the headache that you're having to go through now certainly isn't worth it. You said you were just on the phone with a lawyer, Jay.
Yeah.
Is that something you're going to be having to deal with now as a result of this?
Oh yeah, definitely. And like it's been hard to find lawyers because a lot of lawyers don't even want to touch it, because especially the satanic side. They don't want
Right.
to represent Satanists.
It's
But
so
this
crazy too.
lawyer's, yeah.
It's like,
Mhm.
oh,
Sorry.
not to interrupt you. Keep going. Sorry.
I was gonna say this lawyer is the only one who's been like semi like maybe. Everyone else has been like absolutely not.
That's absolutely insane. I guess so.
Yeah.
So the charges are in Kansas, so you'd need a Kansas lawyer. I guess we'll do our job over here and be like, "Yo, if you guys know of anybody in the Kansas area that would be interested in taking on a case like this, or any law firms like that, that would be certainly interesting." We could also hit you up, Jay, if you have a GoFundMe or raising funds for legal battles.
We do.
This is absolutely nuts to me, because what we're watching our country descend into like a weird Judeo-Christian fascist state where you can't criticize Israel, you can't waver from Christian values, and that is anathema to everything that America has always stood for, right? We are supposed to be the land of liberty, the land of free choice, the land where you can make your own decisions. If you go back to the fucking Quakers, the reason they got on the goddamn Mayflower was so that they could have religious freedom. I don't agree with being a Quaker. I don't want to live my life like that, but Jesus Christ, the whole point of our country is that you can live and let live. You know what I mean? So it is literally an abomination of American values. It spits in the face of everything that we proclaim to care about, and it's massively unjust. So thank you for doing your part to speak up on it.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, for real. I mean, we talk about, activists all the time and the sacrifices that they make in order just to literally do the fucking shit that is the most inherently American, the shit that we all brag about. Oh, we're the most free country in the world because we actually let our citizens do all this bullshit and, rabble rouse and all this shit. Well, yeah, now you're going to have to be dealing with fucking, I mean, I'm sure you didn't want to spend your afternoon talking to some lawyer, having to get rejected by these people because you're a Satanist. And I mean, that's embarrassing, right? Having to talk to lawyers and because of your religious identity be denied service. I mean, that's what's going on. That's literally fucking discrimination, as Zach just said. It's insanely humiliating to have to go through that just to defend a right that you should have enshrined and protected for you by the police who fucking arrested you and put you in jail for a night, literally kidnapping you, abducting you to fucking put you in a dungeon for an evening because they don't have record of your existence, even though you were born in that state.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
That's
fucking crazy. So yeah, I didn't even realize how insane this situation was. I knew that his name is Michael, correct?
Yeah, Michael.
I knew that Michael had been arrested. I honestly did not know the extent of the legal situation that you were in, Jay. So please do send me the link for the GoFundMe or Patreon or whatever it is, a legal fund. I'll definitely blast that out because that's genuinely crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing has been wild. It's almost like just bringing all of the stuff I've heard to reality of like, I don't know, like fascism and Christianity having so much control over the government. Which it's like I knew that, but like having it right there in my face is like, whoa, this is weird. I didn't know this was like this bad. So yeah, it's definitely been interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess the one thing about the era that we're entering now, the era that we find ourselves in, is that the Satanists have been vindicated, right? Like I imagine 10 years ago under maybe the Obama administration, people might have said, oh, is this necessary? Like, come on, this performative, activism, Satan, like, come on, is this necessary? But now it's like, yeah, it was fucking necessary. You guys were 100% correct about everything you were warning about. And here we are. So again, shout out to you, Jay, and please do send me those links. Pretty much, you can send them right now if you want, whenever, as soon as you're ready to.
I'll probably send it to you when I'm done, because I have to find them and all on my phone.
Okay, cool. Well, if you have any closing thoughts for our audience or anything else you want to share, please feel free. And then just send me those links so we can hopefully help out you and Michael.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any like thing else, but this has all been crazy and a lot to process. But I've been trying to be, I don't know, as calm as I can about it and being like, it all will work out in the end. Even if I do have to go, even to trial, like, which the lawyer had partially talked about, and we're like, man, that's a whole other thing. Like, I've never been to court before. Like,
Yeah.
but
What
the
a
whole
fucking nightmare.
experience. Yeah. It's
Well,
fun. But yeah.
well, we're pulling for you, Jay. For people who
Thanks.
don't know, I got a couple of questions in chat. This is Gavin's cousin, his own flesh and blood,
Yeah.
familia. So this is the Vanguard family reunion episode. Really appreciate you taking the time, Jay. I know you're going to be busy dealing with all this crap. However we can help you, please let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Thanks, Jay. It was great to catch up a little
Yeah.
bit, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for
Cool.
having me on.
Of course,
yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Awesome. So that was Gavin's cousin, Jay. That's just absolutely insane. I remember you told me about this, but I didn't really grasp the severity of what was going on. I was like, oh, we're going to have his cousin on the show. That'll be great. We'll talk to them about it. Absolutely mind-blowing. This is a huge First Amendment issue. This is a right to assemble issue. It's something that all of us need to keep a couple of close eyes on. So really appreciate them joining us.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay. That's a absolutely wild update. Appreciate them coming on to, share some insights. I knew that, Jay's always been one of my coolest family members. I've always thought, Jay was an awesome cousin. And I remember a couple of years ago when they joined the Satanic Grotto, I thought it was cool. But then when I saw the story popping off in the news the other day, I was like, oh shit, that's the Satanic Grotto that Jay is a part of. Like, holy shit, this is directly related to someone I'm, related to myself. So that's genuinely insane. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to the Satanic Grotto of Kansas, really holding it down here in the Bible Belt here in the heartland. As soon as I get that link from Jay, I'll share it with you guys. Looks like we just got that actually. So here's a link, a fundraiser on GoFundMe to help Michael, Jay, and Sean, also, who apparently was arrested as well. So I'm going to blast that out in the chat right now. Definitely urge you guys to support them if at all possible, because unfortunately, legal shit is never cheap.
It's not cheap at all, bro.
You have a right to a lot of things in this country, but to actually, be able to defend those rights, you have to pay a lot of money, which is deeply fucked up, but it is the reality. Either way, definitely hit up that link, guys. Hit up that link to GoFundMe. Super important case. And again, right here in the heart of Kansas, where Zach and I grew up. So yeah, shout out to Jay.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there.